Checking connection. You are now live. Really still can't figure out when I'm actually live. Maybe I should watch these back when, after I'm done. But the truth is I never watched my lives after I finished doing them, because then I had to relive them one more time. And everyone hates the sound of their voice. More importantly. Anyway, let's just get to it. Good afternoon from Las Vegas. We're going to be doing some pouring experiments because this is something we've been talking about for a long time at the tea club here in Las Vegas. Does the height, the intensity, the style of the pour make any difference at all whatsoever? And I've been guilty of this, saying that it does make a difference, but I've never actually done a side-by-side. So let's settle this once and for all. Ken, I see you there. Let's settle this once and for all, Ken. Let's do this properly and test to see if tea advice like this will actually make a difference, or if we're just spouting nonsense for the sake of it. That's what we're doing here for these experiments. I think it's fun, and I'm completely open to there not being a difference between the style of the pour. And if that's the result, then at least I have something to reference back to. So yeah. And then the poll came out with Sencha as the tea of choice. So I'll be using a Saemidori Sencha from Tea and Whisk here in Las Vegas as our guinea pig of a Sencha. Let's get going. Danielle Heva, nice to see you. Tea Leaves in Tweed. Ken, welcome. And Lucy, nice to see you. I'm ready for this. I'm so ready for this, Ken. So Ken Convey and I don't know. There's a running joke at the tea shop that if the tea shop were Hogwarts, Ken is like the dark arts, and I teach defense against the dark arts, or whatever else. Ken's just always like pouring whatever works into a pot and overfilling and splashing all over the place. It's crazy. And I tend to have like a really precise, like, keep it simple, subtle. We have like, you know, polar opposite styles of brewing, and sometimes I overcomplicate things, which I'll readily admit to. And Ken just goes for it, which is good too. I think that probably the best approach to tea is somewhere down the middle, or depending on what you're doing, you need to adjust to the situation. But our debate was, will the way that you pour, you know, whether you pour high or you pour low, will that make a difference? So if you pour down here, whether you pour up here, or if you pour on the side of a teapot, like sometimes people do to control the temperature, will those things make a difference? So what I'll do now is I'll preheat these babies. I'll be using identical glass pitchers for this experiment. And then again, we'll be using a Sencha, as you guys voted on. And I think Sencha is a really good choice for this experiment because the cut-up leaves will be a lot more influenced by the physics of the pour. Basically, the higher you pour, is that how momentum works? Like, the harder the leaves will be hit because you're putting more force into it. Like a high and fast pour will jostle the leaves a little bit more, while a slow and steady kind of soft pour is almost like sinking into bath water. You should have a, you know, more gentle result in the final product. But all of this stuff that we've been discussing, that I've shared with my own students, my own workshops, I mean, I think that I notice it when I make tea, but I've never done a side-by-side. And it's only when you do a side-by-side that you can really definitively tell if there is a difference. Because, you know, me saying, I feel like there's a difference. Well, what if you're just feeling that day? You don't know. So yeah, again, this is a Saemidori Sencha that I'll be using. Pretty nice mellow Sencha. Nothing too crazy about it. It's not overly umami. It's got really, really nice balance. So somewhere right down the middle. And how's 2 grams? 2 grams okay for this? I think I'm going to use 2 grams for this experiment. Anyway, what are y'all brewing today? Anyone also doing this crap? Anyone also ogling their Bonavita gooseneck kettle? When I first started doing tea, pretty seriously, back in 2011, I feel like having a Bonavita gooseneck kettle like this was kind of like wow, that's legit. Like, if you got a Bonavita, that's like the cutting edge, and not a lot of people had them back then. I remember seeing a Bonavita kettle on someone's Instagram post back then. I was like, oh my god, like it's just so beautiful. What do I even do? Fast forward a couple years, and now everyone has a Bonavita kettle, which is fine. That's okay, you know. I don't gotta be unique or anything. But then I noticed that people started getting into ceramic kettles and glass kettles. And either you upgraded to get a Stag EKG kettle, you know those really, really, really sexy ones, the matte black finish, you know, it's $190 or something. Either you upgraded from your Bonavita to one of those extremely sexy Stag EKG kettles, or you're like, ugh, stainless steel. Why would you even be bothered with stainless steel anymore? That's so 2012. I'm gonna use ceramic or glass. I think glass right now is the trendy kettle. What do you think, Nicole? You were around back then. You're around for way longer than I was, so you've seen all these trends come and go. I'm just starting to like get into the fold of like, you know, what's trendier or not. But I distinctly remember one time, for a time, I was the only one with a gooseneck kettle because I hopped in early, and then suddenly everyone had one. So, yeah. Differences. Tea Leaves and Tweed, I asked for a Stag EKG for Christmas! Oh my god. Wool and Tea, I'm wanting one of those kettles. I only have a stovetop one for now. I love the Bonavita. I've had 3 of them. One I gave away, the other one, dude, I had to like stuff that kettle into a carry-on bag and fold it in half almost for it to break. Like, that was my fault. That was totally my fault. And then this last one is the one I'm using right now. They're extremely durable. I travel with them a lot, and for how much punishment I put them through, they're so reliable. Mixed reviews though from some people. Like, I've heard people have had issues with the rusting on the kettle. That's pretty much it, honestly. I've never had any problems with leaking from the spout or anything. So, yeah, I really, really love the Bonavita. And while I'm saying it's not trendy anymore, classics are classic for a reason. You'll notice that a lot of the folks who are brewing tea at conventions or at expos are actually using a Bonavita. Okay. Last one, I promise. Just doing this weighing out thing because I'm happy to have a scale again. Nicole, I'm a Stag devotee. You have a Stag kettle? I'm so jealous. Tyler from Hakuna Matala, how often do you clean your kettle? I feel like my Bonavita always gets a mineral buildup on the bottom. I clean my kettle not that often, to be honest. I usually use not that hard of a water. But recently, ever since I started using my my countertop filter again, the one I tested out the previous day, the one with 400 TDS, I've had so many minerals build up in just a couple weeks. It's disgusting. So I need to clean that pretty soon. If you're using a soft water, it doesn't seem to need that much cleaning. I would say that's more of like a symptom rather than the actual phenomenon. If your kettle has a lot of mineral buildup, I would switch waters. But if you don't mind the water that you have, lemon and baking soda seem to do really well for me in scraping all that stuff off. And then there's that bit of wisdom from the Japanese kettles where if you leave the mineral buildup in your water and don't change water, it's supposed to be better. You know? I can't test it because I don't even have a tetsubin. I don't have a cast iron kettle. I'd like to have one. It's on my my vision board. I wanna afford a really nice Japanese cast iron kettle, specifically the one from Suzuki Morihisa. So if anyone wants to be my Secret Santa this year, let me know. What a really, really expensive Secret Santa that would be. Price limit $600. Okay. So these are all preheated now. I'm going to pour the Sencha in. This is 2 grams of Saemidori Sencha. I'm going to tap the Sencha so it's all on every single pitcher. It's got like a nice, even layer on the bottom, because even the layering of the tea, in my opinion, I've never tested it, will make a difference in the way that a tea brews out. Oh my god, the smell is so good! So distracting. Ah, it smells so good. It smells so good. It's like baking. The smell of baking, but instead of butter, it's leaf butter. Ah, so good. Wow. Can I just sign off now? It smells amazing. Okay. Let's see. Tea leaves and tweed. I want the copper one though. Is there a copper EKG stag kettle? Gosh. TJ9, I'm a Bonavita sellout. I am too. I mean, if I like the EKG, but I'm honestly so used to the Bonavita and how it handles that I would just get another one or fix the one I have that the spout came off. Because again, I just traveled with it way too much, and whenever I go to a tea festival, or even when sometimes if I know there won't be a reliable kettle where I'm going, I'll bring my kettle with me. So that's why I broke the spout on my other Bonavita. But I'm not even mad at it. It's my fault. Let's see. Agad Hahav and Chris Lim, nice to see you. Hello from Vegas. After this thing boils, we're gonna get started with the pouring. Okay, so what pour should we do? I want to do a high and fast one. No. I'm gonna do. Let's see. I have a way that I pour, and so let's label them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, starting from here. 1 in the back, 2, 3, 4. Number 1 will be the way that I usually like to pour tea, or water, and I just want to see if the way that I pour is good. So when you're testing these out, using your default is a good idea, so you can test how what your current state is performs with something new. And then we're going to do some extremes. I want to do a really, 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 really slow one for number 2. Like slow. And then I'm going to pour on the side of the pot too. Just really gentle. Almost like, you know, it's limping and I need to, it's like a kitten on the side of the road that I okay, that's the feeling I'm going to get. I'm going to feel like I need to nurse this kitten back to health. It's going to be gentle. So pour number 2 is a gentle kitten massage hot bath pour, okay? Soft. We'll go really soft. And then the third one, let's call it the heavy metal one. Let's just pour the fuck out of it. However harshly I can do it, I'll do it with the third one. And then the fourth one, you guys have any suggestions on what to do for the fourth one? So first one is the Rie Classic. That's a stupid name. The second one is gentle, Abandoned Kitten softness, okay? Third one, we'll do a heavy metal pour. And the fourth one, let me think about it. Woolen tea, are you trying different matchas? No, these are senchas. So it's a powdery sencha. It's called Saemidori. This is a tea from my local tea house, Tea and Whisk. Really nice standard sencha. Nothing too crazy. Nothing too fancy either. So should be good. And then I'll be pouring into these other glass pitchers. I don't like using a filter, and I think a filter, like metal filters, will change the effect on their own as well. So I'm just going to do my best to like not have any sediments. So I'm going to have these guys on hold. Suggestions for the fourth one. Daniel, Heva, and Steven. Spinny, circular. I agree. Swirly. Yeah, let's do the swirly. Okay, so I'm going to try to angle it so that it swirls up. This one is going to be, sometimes you get a swirly effect when you pour really hard, but I'm going to tumble this one. So this will be like a washing machine. Yeah. So the classic Rie, Abandoned Kitten, heavy metal, and a washing machine. These are the official names now, by the way. But the classic Rie might not be so classic if I find out that what am I doing? Let them preheat. God, Rie. Okay, the classic Rie might change if I find that the way that I pour tea isn't well suited for this tea. And note that, like everything else, the results will depend on the tea that we're brewing with. If there is a difference. Who knows? Let's try it out. Okay. Can someone set a timer for when this starts brewing and when this stops brewing? Because I want to see what the difference is. Because for the slow Abandoned Kitten one, it's going to be a really slow pour. So I want to know how to stagger it, if that makes sense. Thanks. Okay. What am I doing? God, I hate myself. Let them preheat, Rie. Gosh. I'm just trying to let these guys preheat. These are just the pictures I'm going to use to pour into later on. And then I gotta have my cupperonis. Yeah. I know, I'm just delaying the inevitable. If there's no result, Ken is gonna strangle me forever. There's no result, Rie. You thought that there was a difference, but there's not. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to even weigh out the water. You know what? I actually can't. Because, god damn it, I didn't realize that the scale only goes to 100 grams. I need a heavier scale to be able to weigh water, the way that coffee people do. Sometimes they'll actually put the water on a scale, and my old scale did that, but then it broke. So I'd rather have a working scale that does a little bit than... Anyway, I'll just do my best, okay? Alright. Classic Rie. Let's go. I pour like a grandma. I never realized this. Gosh. Abandoned Kitten. Oh, baby. You're so sad. It's okay. We'll go home. It's alright. Everything will be okay. I know it's cold outside. I'm cold too. Gently. Okay, let me check to see how much volume we have. Okay, just a little bit more. You'll be nice and warm, I promise. It's not as gently as I'd like it to be. It could be more gentle than that. God. Taking care of abandoned kittens is hard, okay? Okay, there we go. Oh, baby. Okay. This is the Ken, the fasten. Just going for it. Just jiggle it a little bit, you know, for like instability. Sorry, Ken. And then Swirly. Swirly, I'm gonna angle it. Putting it here. So I'm angling it so that it is doing the circular motion. Am I getting that right? Yes, I am getting it. I'm getting the circular motion. Yeah. Cool. That went well. Man, they all look like the same color. I don't even know there's gonna be a difference, guys. They're all green. They're all really green. Yeah. I'm gonna let it sit to see if there's gonna be a difference. More clearly, the longer that you steep a tea, the more the characteristics will come out. So I like to go a little bit over when I'm testing teas like this, so that I can have more data to work with. While I wait for that, yeah. Let's see. Ross, nice to see you. Juan An, good evening. I'm going to Taiwan this week, so I gotta practice. Art Good Tea, hello from Las Vegas. Ross, you do pour like a grandma! How did I even say good evening to you? That's horrible. Tea Leaves and Tweed, is talking in a soothing voice part of the pour? Who was it? I forgot who it was, but someone posted a story about this Japanese farm where they play music to... Or Korean farm? I think it was Sarah from Tea Happiness. She was in Korea, and I think they played music to their tea leaves? To the tea plants? Maybe there's a difference. I don't know. Maybe there's a difference. I'm looking at these right now. They all look green. But I'm going to try not to jostle them too much, because the jostling will change the the effect. Is there any color difference at all whatsoever? I don't see one. The one that should have the most color difference will be the kitten one and the heavy metal one. And if anything, there's a clarity difference. I do see a difference with this one. The kitten one is clearer, and the heavy metal one is heavy. A little bit more cloudy. And again, what this is doing is, what I think is that when you pour hard, you're jostling the leaves more, and so you're extracting a little bit more of the bitterness from the leaves. You're extracting more cloudiness because of the particulate that you're, because you know it's a mechanical thing going on. You're cutting up the leaves a little bit more when you're pouring really hard. And then if they're bouncing against each other, that's also going to change the difference in how they taste. I've done this with the Kyushu before, that if you pour too fast, the leaves will press against each other and kind of squeeze out extra tannins. That's not going to happen in this case, like in a teapot. But that's what we're trying to test for here with the pour. Tea Enthusiast Scrapbook, nice to see you. Ross, why are you speaking to me in Mandarin Chinese text? God. TJT Curious ASMR session. You know, I actually hopped onto Twitch today to look at an ASMR session. I'm like, maybe I'm just not open-minded enough about what the world is into. And there's this girl with this really funky-looking, like, speaker, and she had a toilet paper roll, and she was just, like, scratching it, and, like, holding it, and then staring at the camera. And I was like, ooh, I don't want this to be my Twitch history, let's go. But it did sound really nice. I can appreciate that. Okay, I think I've waited for my destiny to hit me long enough. I'm gonna decant these babies. I'm gonna wait a little bit between these two because this was such a slow pour. Okay. You guys ready? I'm ready. Okay. Tea number 1. The classic Rie. I'm going to try not to have so much sediment. There will be sediment, but I think it's worth it to not have a metal filter interacting with the tea. As we saw yesterday, material will hugely affect the way the tea will taste. So I'm going to just do my best not to have too much leaves come in. I think I did a pretty good job for what it was. And then I'm going to prop this up against my computer right here. Is that safe? It's just tea. Alright. How's our kitten doing? Is it still alive? You know, like when you rescue baby animals, I'm not sure if anyone ever has, it's like, is it still alive? One of my most kind of like sad childhood memories is a bird that I rescued when I was out on a school trip. And I remember it specifically went for me. We were out on a school trip. I was part of the varsity quiz team. I know, I'm a giant nerd. And we were walking in the hallway, and then this bird just flew in, all injured, and it went straight to me and just landed right at my feet. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna take this bird home and rescue it, and it's gonna be okay, and then it died. And yeah. Ever since then, I'm like, man, I don't know if I handle things like that really well. But hopefully our abandoned kitten is alive. Remembering again, it's just the name of the pour that I did. No actual kittens involved in this process. It's different! It's different! I'm excited that it's different. I know I said I'm okay if the results are not conclusive, but of course I want them to be conclusive. It means that we can prove something. But that's not true. Even if there was no difference, that's still a conclusive result, because then we know not to waste time on altering the pour too much. So this is the heavy metal one. Okay. And then I'm going to prop these up. I'm doing that just so that the excess water here is not interacting too much with it. So I'm just off screen, I'm just propping them up like this. If that makes sense. Oh my god, I need to pour this out! Rie! Ugh, god. I'm so easily distracted. In fact, I'm the abandoned kitten. It's just a metaphor. I'm just kidding. Don't read into that too much. Okay, I'm really excited for this because it actually is a difference in the way that these look. Dude! Dude. 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 Okay. Sorry, dude. I was so busy looking at this tea that I wasn't saying hello. T-Rapia, nice to see you. Arthur IG, hello from Las Vegas. Let's see. Nicole, I hate ASMR. It's a little creepy, yeah? But I guess people will be people. And I guess there's just something I don't understand about it yet. Oh my god! They look so different! I mean, I really hope Instagram will let me show this. Okay? So, this is the Rie Classic, and this is the Abandoned Kitten one. Do you see how different the clarity is? Hey Ken, I know we live in the same city, but a little bit louder for the Kens in the back. They look different, dude. They look different. See, this one's more yellow, this one's more green, but this one's clearer. This one's clearer, and this one is more cloudy and more green. Dude, they look different. Okay, let's wrap it up. Let's go home. Then we gotta taste it. I wonder if there's an aroma difference. They all smell really good, so I can't tell the difference. That's the Rie Classic. I doubt I'll be able to smell from the cups anyway, so forget that. Glass, just by the way, this is something I know for a fact because I've tested it before. It's not just me throwing out random advice. Glass is not that great for aroma on its own. That's why I have these guys here, because they are kind of like wine glass shaped. Okay, let's see. Okay, last little warm up for these. Preheat everything. As we learned last week, the preheat matters. Okay, from this side to this side, the Rie Classic, the Abandoned Kitten, the heavy metal one, the one that Ken would like, and then the Swirly, okay? The Swirly laundry, what do we call it? Forgot. The Swirly. Circular motions. The hurricane. Okay, did you guys know that in Utah, there's a town named Hurricane? And I just cracked up when I drove past it. Like, y'all people in Utah don't even know what a hurricane is. How do you guys have a town named Hurricane? Really, guys? I don't think you even know. Okay, so how does this look? They look the same in the cups, to be honest with you. If I had to make a call, I would say the heavy metal one, number 3, is the most green and cloudy. Actually, yeah, if I really look, I wish I could show you this, but just like we saw here, this is the kitten one, this is the heavy metal one. The soft gentle pour has a clearer, more distinct yellow golden color, while the heavy metal one, the hard fast pour, jostling kind of like, you know, not that steady, has a deeper greener color. Let's test. So the classic Rie tastes like I brewed it. It's what I want tea to taste like. That's why I brew like that, I guess. It's soft, it's creamy. There's a good immediate aroma on the palate. I think it's balanced. I guess I'm biased. There's a little bit of a pleasant bitterness to the tea. It's not astringent at all. Nice texture. I'll describe more about it later. For now, I'm gonna move on to the next tea, and I'm gonna drink some of this rinse water because I don't want there to be too much buildup between each. Okay, so the classic Rie, which is a steady, kind of medium height pour. Steady, precise, careful, in one spot. The second one is the Abandoned Kitten one, as gentle and soft as possible. We brew the tea as soft and gentle as possible. There's a difference! Woohoo! There's a difference, okay. It's soft. It's really soft. It's really soft. So remember I said that there's that immediate aroma and a little bit of pleasant bitterness with the Rie Classic? This one has almost none of that. It's almost like an oolong. That's the closest I can think of to describing this Sencha. It's almost veering into oolong category where it... Tea Leaves and Tweed, I just saw your... Yes, it's soft like a kitten. I don't want to think about tasting kittens, but yes, it's soft like the fur of a kitten. It's very gentle, and what's remarkable is the texture is extremely soft, like a down feather pillow. It's just soft. And almost no bitterness at all. So there's a fleeting bitterness, pleasant, you know, it's a good kind of bitterness, but doesn't have the same intensity as the one that I poured the way I usually do. See, that one immediately has more intensity, more flavor, it's more sharp, which I do like. And I would say that the one with the steady pour is more balanced, but this one is soft. And if you want to dial it back a little bit, have a more gentle flavor, that's dope. That's just really good. I'm not sure what you guys like, but I'm someone who likes really, really buttery, anything, like buttery show. Like when show pour is creamy, I like it. When dansong is creamy, I like it. When green tea is creamy, I like it. So I really dig that. Next one, the heavy metal one. High, fast, jostling it, you're in a rush, you're not thinking about it. Number 3. See, I don't know how to tell you. I think it's rough. I'm not sure if it's just an association, but immediately it's more... There's astringency, and in the first 2 cups, I did not have any astringency to speak of. So I need to attribute that in my head to the pouring style. Now, yes, we're going in order, so these teas are cooling down, but even accounting for that, I'm not saying it's not making a difference, but even accounting for the way I know tea cools down, this is more rough. It's astringent, it's rough. Is it bad though? No, it's not. Yeah, it just attacks you immediately, which is kind of shocking after you just took care of the kitten. It's like you took care of the kitten, then you went back to work. You're like, oh my god, let me go back to my kitten at home. But yeah, it's the most distinct part of it, the difference between the soft brew and the hard brew or pour is a texture. They actually taste not that far off, but the texture is a big giveaway to me. Big. And again, to compare these two, this one's the harsh pour, and this is the soft pour. There's a clarity difference, which I think you can see even through the screen. This one's more clear and light, and this one's more kind of intense looking. Boom. And then, your guys' suggestion, the Swirly. I'm gonna guess it's gonna be somewhere in between the heavy metal one and the Rie one, because it was some like mechanical jostling going on, but not as much as this one. Whoa. I think I'm wrong, because that's got the most astringency out of all of them. It's the roughest. Yeah, that's rough. That one's rough. It's sour. It Yeah, and now that I think about it, the way that I poured, I need to go back to the video, but when I did do the circular motion, that was the tea where the leaves were spinning the most and for the longest time because of the circular kind of thing going on. When I poured for the heavy metal one, because it was just so like uneven, the leaves were just kind of jostling without spinning the whole time. But for this one, they were spinning the whole time, so maybe they were releasing more of those bitter compounds, because man, that's really, really extracted. Really interesting. But I would say this one's still more cloudy, the heavy metal one. So that's interesting. Okay, back to just for contrast, let's go back to the Abandoned Kitten one. He's so soft, guys. This kitten is so soft. It's just so soft. There's a tiny bit of dryness now because it's cooling down, but it's oh soft. It's barely there. And then the Rie Classic. See, I like the way that I make tea. I'm sorry, guys. Like, that's a really good cup of tea. It's got that bitterness and astringency a little bit that these guys are developing. So that just might be a factor of the cooling down. So even factoring that in, though, it's got a lot more balance than the Swirly one did. And remember, these pouring styles will change effect based on the tea. We're picking Sencha. Sencha's the most cut up. It's going to be the most affected by the jostling motions, I think, because it's just tiny little pellets, you know? So they're overly extracted quite easily. But in this case, I like the effect of my pour here. Questions. Steven, maybe the kitten pour is why that kukicha tasted like Alishan. Maybe. So what Steven's talking about is for blind tasting night, we once brewed, or Steven once brewed, kukicha, really softly? Really, 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 really softly. And then it came out. So for blind tasting night here in Las Vegas, I have all of us brew a tea one by one. You have to steep it out 3 times and pass out a cup for everyone. And no one gets to know what the tea looks like. You don't get a smell of the gaiwan or the pot. You just gotta drink it and you just throw your guesses out. And my guess for this tea that came around, it was soft, it was buttery, it was lovely, it was really light. And to me, that reminded me of High Mountain Oolong, right? High Mountain Oolong has that really delicate quality coming on. So I wish I had a recording of myself. Yeah, it's got the expansive mouth texture and it's just very soft and it's got the Taiwan character. And then it was a kukicha. And a kukicha that I had helped the tea shop get in. So you'd think that I would know that tea, but I thought because of the way that Steven had brewed that tea, it tasted less like kukicha that I would make and more soft and buttery. And that's why it's good to have tea practice with different people, because different people will brew things different ways. That's why we have such different opinions when a famous release comes out. Like, May Leaf Jade Star, right? Like, people's notes on that are so different, and we think it's the reason why is because everyone has different setups at home, and we all are pouring differently, our water is different, our teaware is different, our moods are different. Maybe some people are dog people. They're not going to pour for a Abandoned Kitten pours, There's so many variables, and I think this is pretty clear to me that the pour does make a difference, because it's so soft. So soft. Okay, so for those of you all coming in, we've been testing pouring styles with the Sencha. This is a Saemidori Sencha from Japan. It's very cut up, okay? It's a very cut up Sencha. So you'd expect there to be quite a large effect from the pour. And there actually was. So yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. Teaspoon Views, Steep Leafs Shop, Ale Fantasy, ST, Gabri Tesa, and Eddie Susanto. Nice to see you from Las Vegas. differences in the pour. Really, really, really distinct. For me, if you blindfolded me, I don't know if I would be able to tell the difference. I'm going to do that after the stream to see if I can determine it. I can definitely tell you, though, I might not be able to tell the difference between the classic Rie, the heavy metal, and the swirly one, especially as they're cooling down, because my tell for the rough pours is the bitterness and the dryness, and the classic Rie is still developing that right now. But the gentle pour is unmistakable. It's so soft. It's really soft. And what's happening there is, if you imagine these are the tea leaves, these are not my fingers, these are tea leaves. And they're green. And they got umami in them, okay? When you're pouring water onto them and jostling them from the very top, you're extracting more, right? Because they're getting hit by water. It's force, it's going to be hotter water, etc. Now with a kitten pour, we were kind of like just kind of pouring water in and letting it flow in to the tea, okay? So there's a slight temperature difference happening just there. The fact that it's not hitting the tea leaves directly. And when you're brewing with a gaiwan, what that would be is if you were pouring on the side of the gaiwan rather than right down the middle. So even without you noticing, you might be adjusting the difference. You might be adjusting your pour style without you noticing, because you accidentally might have poured on the side rather than down the middle. So that's what's happening there. With the kitten pour, the water is almost just kind of like letting the leaves sink in. So there's very little mechanical kind of like jostling going on. And by mechanical jostling, I mean there's no chemical difference happening in the pot. It's all just how soft it is, you know, is it floating rather than being infused, etc. So that's pretty conclusive to me, for sure. Yeah, let me see if this is still soft. Yeah, I mean, Kitten is growing up a little bit. He's developing some claws, but he's still really soft, honestly. The heavy metal one. No, the swirly one. Let's just side by side it. Ooh. The swirly one is just so bitter now. Sour, bitter, astringent. Ooh. That's not even the same tea. That's not even the same tea. God damn it. It doesn't taste like the same tea. The heavy metal one is not as astringent or sour or, you know, intense as the swirly one. And I do have to go back to the video to see what I did exactly. Because I suspect with this much of a difference with the swirly, it probably had the most time to kind of like spin around. Yeah. Because I hit it with an angle and that caused the leaves to spin around quite a lot. And with something like Sencha, that stuff's gonna infuse quick. Yeah. Classic Rie, one more time. I mean, that's a good cup. It's still really good. Am I biased? Maybe. But why I say it's good, it's got immediate aftertaste. I don't know why that is, but this one's one of the best aftertaste. The aftertaste just pops with this tea, and it's so sweet. That bitterness is pleasant, then it turns to sweetness. Why? I don't know why. Maybe because I'm pouring just in one spot, so it's extracting a little bit more. I don't know, but there's a difference for sure. Yeah, dudes. Lucy's Woo pour style really makes a difference. Personality really comes out. Personality in the tea and personality in the person. Ken, are you still here? Yo, Ken, you still here? Ken's the other tea teacher at the local tea shop. We switch on Fridays, depending on which Friday it is. It's either me or him hosting a workshop. And the heavy metal pour is what Ken uses. And there's a reason why people know that specific person will make a specific kind of tea. Just think about in your friends group, like if you guys cook together, there's that guy who oversalts, okay? There's that guy who puts a fuck ton of sriracha on it, so you don't ever taste anything but sriracha or Tabasco. You know that person. You know that person. Tea is like cooking. I think cooking is the closest thing we can compare to tea in terms of the variables. It's easy to cook well when you have the fundamentals down. You could make delicious food when you have the fundamentals down. But for the last 90 to 95% of like just fine tuning, there's so much there that we can like play with and adjust. And that's why this tea that's supposed to be one Japanese sencha tastes like, honestly, it tastes like 3 different teas. I think these two have a more similar profile. I'm biased for the one that I poured. Sorry. If I need to be more critical of a conclusion today, though, the gentle soft pour had the absolute most noticeable difference. So if you're gonna do this at home for your test, make sure that you have a really, 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 really soft one. Even pick up the teaware and just like pour really, really soft on the sides. Because what you're doing is you're letting the water drop less, so there's less momentum. It's just, yeah, cradling the tea. Now, what I wish I knew what was going on was the chemical compositions of each. Like, what things we extracted in different amounts to make this taste like this. But that's another discussion for another day, I think. And something I have to ask if I can come across someone who knows this stuff. Yeah. Eco D Trav, nice to see you from Las Vegas. Just wrapping up this side by side. I'm like, it's like I ran a marathon of like tea science and tea tasting. Just so much revelation going on for me. Lucy's woo both the personality of the tea and the pour comes out. Agreed. Now what I'm gonna do after this live is I'm going to mark these blind and see if I can determine which one is which. Because yesterday I did that as well with the bowls, and the only one I could pinpoint after the tea had cooled down, because flavor will start to mesh together when things cool down. I think the clear result from yesterday's test, even blind, was the glass. I suspect that I'll be able to pick out our kitten. We should name the kitten. What's the kitten's name? Andrew. The kitten's name is Andrew. So Andrew or kitten. It's not a very kitten-like name. Andy. Is Andy a more kitten-like name? Drew? None of those names are very kitten-like names. Andrew the kitten. We'll call him Andrew the kitten. Because cat people like to name their cats long names, right? So Andrew the kitten, like, yeah. I think I'll be able to pick him out in a blind lineup, but I'll let you guys know how that goes. Otherwise, this was really fun, and I would invite you to do your own test, because I can't do this all the time for every single tea. We still gotta test pu'er, oolong, shou pu'er, shang pu'er, hei cha, which kind of oolong. Depending on the leaf shape and size of all these different teas will have a different result. That's why I picked sencha today, because if we did an oolong that was tightly balled up, or a pu'er that's compressed, we would have to adjust for that initial like opening up phase. I wanted to show just a sencha that's ready to go. Yeah, I'm gonna do my own test eventually, but because I'm rotating through a couple of these fundamentals, please do some tests for me. See if I'm just talking out of my backside. People will have different results. So yeah, and send me any questions that you have. Ken, I love that tea intensity. Yes, that's another difference, okay? Remember that these results are my interpretation. I don't like bitter, astringent flavors. I like soft. I like kittens, okay? I like kittens. I don't like leopards. I don't like bobcats. I don't like wild stuff. Wild, crazy stuff with claws. The way that you pour that will suit you best, you need to figure that out yourself, because honestly some people might think this is a little bit weak because it's lacking a little bit of oomph, okay? So, subjective. Thank you, Ken. That's totally valid. This one actually has the least flavor. So if you're looking for flavor, you're looking for some punch in the morning, this might be a little bit too subtle for you. in conclusion, I think be aware of this and then adjust. Because just because I'm Rie doesn't mean I'm going to classic Rie pour all the time. Sometimes I'll kitten pour. Sometimes I'll merge with Ken and pour like this, you know? Adjust your style of brewing based on what tea you're brewing at the time. As for notes, gosh, I promised myself I would talk about this at the beginning. The Discord server. I hate myself. Oh my god. The Discord server, the link for it is on my profile. I'm just tired of chasing around hashtags. I'm tired of having so many different conversations in my inbox. You guys should see my inbox on Instagram. There are so many brilliant conversations I get to read every single day. Fluid physics, and I work at a tea shop, and this is what we did, and I'm in Japan, and this is what my teacher told me, and I'm like, oh my god, all of this knowledge is coalescing into my Instagram DMs. I don't want them to live in my Instagram DMs. I want them to live in a place that you guys can see too. So that's what the Discord is for. I had no idea what Discord was. It was just a chat that helped me categorize different tea discussions. And I invite you to join the Discord server that we started. The link is on my profile. What I would love is to be able to do this on live once, and then everyone else tells me what they found out, and I'm going to learn from you guys too, because we always learn better when we have people to trade off of. Otherwise, I would be in my little echo chamber of Rie. Like, Rie's amazing. Just brew like Rie. Everything you know is correct. Don't worry about it. And that's dangerous. Practice with other people. Discuss with other people. You'll become a better brewer because of it. So yeah. Anyway. Discord. Sencha. Pouring matters. I'm pretty happy. I got to prove something. If anyone wants to come at me and say pouring doesn't make a difference, test it first, and then let me know. I'm happy to discuss with you as long as you test it first. So yeah, thank you so much for hanging out. I really enjoyed this. Tomorrow, another test. We're on day 5 of consecutive experimenting days. I love it, but I'm also like, why do I do this? We do this because we want to be better brewers. 4 p.m. PST tomorrow. I don't know what the topic is yet. It's going to be fun though. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. PST. Thank you and goodbye. Good night.